And we're on to question 20 of the IMC. Sarika, Dev, and Rajiv are sharing a large block of cheese. They take turns cutting off half of what remains and eating it. First, Sarika eats half of the cheese, then Dev eats half of the remaining half, then Rajiv eats half of what remains, then back to Sarika, and so on. They stop when the cheese is too small to see. About what fraction of the original block of cheese does Sarika eat in total? We need to find what Sarika eats. I think we can track the sequence. So I'm writing Sarika, Dev, and Rajiv over here. Sarika eats half. Then Dev must eat a quarter of the cheese. Then Rajiv eats an eighth of the cheese. Then Sarika eats a 16th of the cheese. Dev eats 1 over 42. Rajiv eats 1 over 64. Then Sarika eats 1 over 128. I'm beginning to see a pattern here. Let's ignore Dev and Rajiv for now. I want to look at Sarika. Over here, we're always multiplying by the same thing. We're multiplying by an eighth. Over here, we're multiplying by an eighth. And over here, we're also multiplying by an eighth. This is going to be important. Erasing this. If I write down S, that means the sum of Sarika's sequence. That's going to be a half plus a 16th plus 1 over 28 and so on and so forth. Now, that is the sum of Sarika's sequence. We can simplify this. What if we multiply the sequence by an eighth? Multiply both sides by an eighth. Then we get 1 over 16, because a half times an eighth is 1 over 16. Then 1 over 16 times 1 over 8 is going to be 128. And you see why I've multiplied by exactly an eighth? Because the sequence repeats. If I multiply a half by an eighth, I get 1/16, which is also the same over here. And if I multiply 16th by an eighth, I get 128, which is the same as here. Basically, I'm multiplying by the common ratio, which we identified here, an eighth. Now, if you have S here and an eighth S over here, we could subtract these two. If I do S minus an eighth of S, what do I get? That is the same as like a half plus a 16th, and so on and so forth, minus a 16th plus 128th. You see what's happening here. If I subtract these two, then 1 over 1/16, goodbye, goodbye. Then over here next comes 128, goodbye, goodbye. Everything cancels out except a half. And S minus 1/8 of an S is 7/8 of an S. So what we can find out here is that 7/8 of an S is equal to a half. So to find out the value of S, which is what everything Sarika eats, then all I have to do is divide both sides by 7 over 8. So 7 over 8S divided by 7 over 8 is just S. And S is equal to a half divided by 7 over 8. And I'm going to actually move it up here for more space. Simplifying that, that's equal to a half times 8 over 7. Goodbye, goodbye, you're 4. And I get 4 over 7 as the sum of everything Sarika eats, or A.